And hey everyone, welcome to another edition of the Calgary Real Estate Show. A little abbreviated today because we're heading to Stampede. Let's just be honest. I got my shirt on. More volunteer activities today, but we wanted to bring our regular weekly recap, and we've got a special announcement at the end of this video, so don't miss it because we're going to be changing things up a little bit. So, Jaden, how are you? You had a little holiday.
Yeah, a big quick pop out to Vancouver Island and back in God's country, and then for the day, and then back out to BC tomorrow.
Well,
Nice.
there you go. There you
Yeah,
go. Well, enjoy. Thanks for coming back just to do this video, because I'm sure that's the only reason.
couldn't miss it, and I just wanted to see what you look like before you hit the midway, and then after you hit the midway.
We don't do
Exactly.
midway.
Exactly. Yeah. How about sitting in the rodeo sun all afternoon? That'll be interesting.
That
Yeah.
All
would be
right.
fantastic as well.
So yeah, exactly. So here's our weekly stats. As always, this is just a snapshot every week, but we're certainly seeing some trends here. So if we go back 5 weeks, even 4 weeks ago, 758 new listings. They've gone down, which I think is pretty traditional, Natalie, when you say for this time of year.
Yeah, it's Stampede week. So there's a lot of people, and it's July. People are going out of town, they're on holidays, that kind of thing. So it does tend to peter down a bit.
Yeah, Peter off. And then solds, down again this week. So really what I'm always looking at is what is that sale to new listing ratio? It's dropped this week down to 86%. But
Wow.
it's so funny, right? Like we have a client that's looking for a very specific villa in a project in Shaughnessy. And so one came up yesterday. They said they're going to review. So yesterday to Wednesday, said they're going to review offers on Friday, and it's already pending. So, it really depends on what you're looking for on how quickly you're going to need to act because there are still multiple offers going on. We put a listing on the other day and got an offer 2 hours after it went live. So,
Yeah.
it's really, I would say there are little cracks of opportunities for buyers out there right now, but it's still very specific to, is that home what we call a cream puff? Does it show well on a good street in a good neighborhood? Generally cream puffs are still going very, very quickly. Pending's down, days on market up to 23. And as Natalie recaps the look at last year compared to this year, you'll find that interesting as well. We're pushing 4,000 listings. Not a bad thing, right? This is not a bad thing. It helps buyers out. Sellers are still in a very, very good position because Natalie, when we look back at last year, it's very interesting to compare, especially on the sales angle.
Absolutely. So total sales last year were 582. This year it's 531. So it's actually down 9%. New listings last year was 753. This year 840. So it's up 11%. Actives last year were 3496. This year 3916. So it's up 12%. And days on market last year were 22. This year 23. So it's up 4% one day. But yeah.
And a big difference in pendings there too, down 22%.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
it's hard to say. We saw a definite trend happening in June. So we're almost halfway through July, or at least a third of the way through July. And we're kind of continuing to see that, sales or certainly new listings up. What the total inventory ends up being, we'll just see at the end of the month. My sense, Jaden, as we swing it over to you for interest rates, is we'll see what happens with any potential rate drops happening here at the end of the month, right?
Yeah, absolutely. July 25th. And I was actually reading an article in the Financial Post today that kind of lays out, and they were more, of course, Toronto and Vancouver focused as all national media is, but kind of lays out exactly what's happening in our market as well. And they're saying, listen, sellers are getting back onto the market because they see the market shift in interest rates and getting out there and they're wanting to make their moves, so they think it's a good time. And they've seen the effects of what a fantastic market has done over the last 6 months. If you're selling in Calgary, you've done very well for yourself. But buyers aren't quite there yet. They were impressed by, like, it's nice to see that, but a quarter point isn't a whole heck of a lot in the grand scheme of things. And we haven't seen a ton of movement in the fixed realm, right? And so what buyers are doing actually is waiting for July 25th. What are we going to get from there? And how many times have we talked about I love your little saying, date the rate, marry the house, Mark. From a buyer's perspective, it's a risky strategy because as like we've done this week over week for 3 or 4 or however many years you and I have done it, Mark, and you can see the
4.
trend. Yeah, it was, and so 4. So you can see the trend in that 4 years of housing continually going up, right?
Yeah.
Like through
Mhm.
COVID, out of COVID, into housing continually going up, and so if you're worried about saving 1% on your mortgage, but the house in the meantime has gone up by 50 grand, you're quite a little bit behind the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I feel for those buyers that were I think misled into
Yeah,
believing by whoever that, oh, the market's going to crash. It always crashes in Calgary. There have been some crashes for sure, but what we're seeing is that, and I was having this conversation with somebody the other day, actually one of our agents in our group at eXp Realty. It's like, okay, when you look at real estate, it's driven number one by life change, right? Having babies, kids moving out, death in the family, all those life changes are what drives real estate. And then, net migration, job creation is are the key drivers of real estate. Well, we're seeing that continuing to increase. We're going to, I think, see less net immigration from other provinces in 2024 is what they're predicting. But that doesn't mean it's going down to zero. That doesn't mean that job creation is going down to zero, right? So if that's still the case, then we should conceivably still see prices go up. So the best advice for buyers right now is, number one, talk to Jaden. Get a mortgage broker on your side, get clarity on what you can afford, and then as always, we take you out, we show you the market, and we're going to be able to tell you pretty closely what you're going to have to pay in a particular neighborhood. We can't drill it down to that one house, but generally we say, okay, last 30 days, say Natalie, now last 30 days, what's the sale to list price ratio?
Yeah.
What's the
Yeah.
sale to list price percentage?
Yeah. And that's huge for people to know. They have to be educated on that kind of stuff because it's not a wait and see. Everybody, we have heard that from several people that are like, oh, it's all going to drop in September. It's like, no, that's
Yeah.
not. It would have to be something catastrophic to have something like that
Yeah.
happen at this point in time. Like
Yeah.
it's just not happening. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. And Jaden, really any rate changes this week?
no, nothing big. I think there's a little bit of there's been a lot of odd movement in the bond market. It's very like I think we talked about, it's very unpredictable, and so a lot of people just standing strong on their rates right now. I suspect that July 25th is the tipping point for the fixed market as well, as lenders kind of prepare themselves for the fall market. But it's interesting. I've been hearing some ridiculous rates offered on just kind of one-off things for the right client. I've been getting some ridiculous rates on the right client. But again, if that rate sounds fantastic at a 5-year, you're probably not going to be happy with it about 2 years into the term, right? So there's all things to consider with rates right now.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Awesome. All right. Finally, we're just going to wrap it up with what I think are the top 6 things to do at Stampede. For those that don't know, I've been a Stampede volunteer. I think it's year 9 or 10. And then COVID got
10.
mixed in there. I think I'm 10 too. But in any case, it's so exciting this year. And you know what? Let's just rip the Band-Aid off here. It's not cheap to get into Stampede. So what I wanted to do is highlight what are some free things, excuse me, you can do when you're actually in the grounds. If you're not going to the rodeo, not going to the grandstand show, I love this because there are a lot of free things to do. I've seen a lot of comments on Ask Calgary. It's like, it's so expensive. In this sense, like, bring your own water bottle, bring your own snacks in. Like, I don't think there's any issues with that as far as I'm aware.
No.
I may be wrong, but I don't believe there are. So here we go. If you enter in the north gates, one of the first things you're going to see are these massive shipping containers all painted black with a Monster Energy logo on them. That is the Monster Energy show. It is motocross riders doing crazy flips and stunts and all that kind of stuff. Super fun. It goes on all throughout the day. Then just look to your right. You're not going to miss it because it's the brand new expanded BMO Center. It is absolutely stunning. We've been there a few times this week already. And as you walk in, you're going to see all these, they're called Fleur de Ville. It's the Fleur de Ville of country. So these are local flower artists that have created these things. Natalie, help me out here. I don't even know what. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they're mannequins that they've dressed up.
Yeah. So this is Johnny Cash. There's Shania Twain. There's Dolly Parton. And then if you go to the third floor, I'm not sure if you can bring kids in or not, but that's the Stampede Cellar, the third floor of the new BMO Center. You don't actually need a reservation, which spoke to the organizers of it. So there's obviously different drinks and snacks and stuff you can get in there. It's an elevated experience. You get a great view of the Midway from up there. The dog bowl. How do you not want to see the dog show, right? So that's at the very south end of the park. So if you're entering in at Earlton, that would be a great thing to knock off when you first come in. All this information is in the Stampede app. So download the app, then you can get all the show times. Ag building. Well, this is like Jaden's backyard, really. Like the ag building. Jaden doesn't need to go to the ag building. This is like his backyard. But we love walking through the ag building. Oh man, Natalie, you take this one.
They have all the different breeds of horses. They've got sheep, they've got pigs and piglets and all that good stuff. They actually had a couple of mares, like breed mares for the Bronx from the Stampede Ranch that were there, and with their little foals. It was so cute. And then they have the video of all the horses running.
That's right. And that's in the Nutrients. The ag building and the Nutrient are two different buildings. Technically, they're right next to each other. So make sure you get up both, because it's their Born to Buck program. So these horses are born, raised at the Stampede Ranch. I think it's up by Hannah, I believe. You got to check out Draft Horse Town. Like the other day we were there, these massive, massive horses, they're hooking them up to a grader. And this is how they used to do things back in the day. So Draft Horse Town is an ag building, Nutrient. That's all a must-see. And in the Nutrient, I didn't even put this in there, there's like different cowboy events. Like there's a roping event that women do. And there's the Stock Dog Championships, where these incredible dogs and their handlers have to get sheep into it's a kind of a course they have to go through. Unbelievable stuff there. The Stage of Wonders at the BMO Center, it is free. You do have to pick up tickets. There's 2 different shows every day. And then there's all the free concerts and things going on at Roadhouse and Coke Stage and Nashville North. Roadhouse, I think it's more people our age. Nashville North would be for our kids, and Coke Stage would also be more of a young thing. But there's tons of free stuff to do there, so I'll just remove that from the screen. But we love Stampede. Not everyone does. We get that, but if you are heading down, there's some great free things that you can check out there. Plus all the food and things like that. Natalie, if you had to pick one thing for people to try on the Midway food-wise, what would you pick? I'll put you on the spot.
Ooh, I actually love the arepas. I'd never had one until a couple of years ago when we did the food tasting, and I love a good arepa. They're like a little corn, like a pita almost, but it's like crunchy on the outside and fluffy on the inside, and has all sorts of good food in it. I will say we did try one the other day. It was not my favorite, but the original ones are the cat's meow. So
really, really good. Love the arepa.
And funnel
it's
cakes.
More of a that's a pretty classic one too. Love the arepas. Love I'm a big meat guy. Obviously, there's a bacon pulled pork sandwich from Mo Bacon, which is right by Nashville North, which is very, very yummy. Really so that's about it. Jen, you're not even going to be at Stampede because you're heading out on another holiday.
Yeah. Holidays are overtaking Stampede, but I do love walking around with a bag of mini donuts, and I have pudgy little kid hands jumping in there and grabbing them as we're going around the Midway. So I'll go with the classic mini donuts for my favorite.
Yeah.
I love
they're classic.
Too.
Everybody loves them. Every age loves them. So yeah.
Exactly. All right. So a big announcement at the end here. In the age of Instagram and TikTok and Facebook even promoting Reels, we are actually going to be moving this show to a shorter. We'll call it bite-sized, right? In 90 seconds, you're going to get your full update on the weekly stats, and so that will start next week. So we thank everybody for watching this show. Please continue to watch our updates, but we will do a beginning of the month wrap up of the whole previous month stats in this long form content. So I think that's best handled with a longer form that we do here on this show. So that's about it for this week. Jaden, enjoy your holiday in BC, and we won't talk to you live in 7 days, but we will, be putting stuff out there. So please, like, subscribe if you're on YouTube, and we'll see you all in 7 days, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye.